Yeah, I just really like girls.
So many people losing their shit over a cute little video. Yeah, fellas, is it gay to like women? Apparently. If you don't speak internet, I'm here to be your internet speaker and explain internet to you. This is a video produced by a YouTuber called JoCat. And if you want to support JoCat and JoCat's animations, you can hit the subscribe button, go give the thumbs up, and here's a shareable link to JoCat's work. And this was a internet video that broke very large parts of the internet. I know you're going to think that this is probably something deeply offensive. Maybe it's going to have slurs, be filled with racism, you know, internet stuff. But no, that's not the reason why this video was so controversial. One of the most controversial internet videos of 2023, even though it came out 2 years ago, which is pretty wild. But it's at 11 million views, and it's called I Like Girls. Don't worry if you don't enjoy it. It's only 35 seconds long. It's quite short. It's a 35-second video that, again, broke large portions of the internet.
That there's no muscly girls in here. Well, I mean, yeah, but, you know, sure, I like to joke around and talk about how, oh, I'm strong women all the time, but that's not the only girls I like. I like big girls, pretty kitty girls, really witty girls, singing ditty girls. I like the leggy girls with the nice thighs. I like a good chest, no matter what size. I like the belly folds, I like the six-packs, really tall queens, and the short stacks. From the mild girls to the wild girls. You got style girls, make them proud girls. Yeah, I just really like girls.
That's the video. That's 35 minutes. Oh, sorry, 35 seconds. Oof. Yeah, you gotta be careful what I say here. 35 seconds long. That's all it took. Yeah, all it took to really get the internet super mad, super angry at JoCat for making this video, making this statement. YouTuber who created a Baldur's Gate 3 Lizzo parody song says people tried to dox him over it. I never meant to make anyone upset, he said. If you've been on Twitter over the past few days, you've likely seen a gender-bent Lizzo parody video hit on your timeline from JoCat, based on some audio from one of the Baldur's Gate 3 streams. I like big girls, a cartoon catboy sings, pretty kitty girls, really witty girls, singing ditty girls. I like leggy girls with the nice thighs, I like a good chest no matter what the size. The music video proceeds to show off a wide range of video game women celebrating their different physical attributes, whether they're short, tall, muscular, or chubby. Silly, but ultimately harmless, right? Not to some. The video has since kicked off an enormous online discourse around cringe, online harassment, and treating content creators with privacy and respect. What is JoCat's I Like Girls? JoCat's I Like Girls is a reversal of Lizzo's Boys. Like the original single, the song celebrates all different kinds of people the singer's attracted to and why he finds them appealing. It's also ridiculously divisive. With over 11 million views on YouTube, some viewers find it a genuine body-positive take on how women are beautiful in all shapes and sizes. Others believe it's a little objectifying for a catboy to sing about how much the female video game characters is attracted to and why. Don't we hear enough about all types of bodies men like? Meanwhile, some internet users simply find the whole concept a little cringy, a little too thirsty for their comfort, most likely because the singer is a man. No, so the backlash actually, and the worst of it, as you're about to hear in the statement from JoCat, actually came from a lot of people who got very upset that apparently JoCat was unmasculine, not masculine enough in the presentation. Now, if you're wondering about masculinity, I'll teach you all quickly. This is masculinity. What is a man?
My name is Aldo Buttazone. As a young man in America, I often think about what my role in society is supposed to be.
Men are trash everywhere in this country.
Men are portrayed in the media as perverts.
Perverts are everywhere.
Buffoons.
And all these commercials are out there where the man's like the lazy guy on the couch. It's a tool.
The concept of masculinity and the perception of man's role in society is rapidly changing.
Hitting the gym.
I don't need a man. Girl, you don't need no man.
I can finance myself, I can myself, and I can feed myself.
There's so many trash men out there. Yes, they're all trash.
This shift is leaving young men like myself grappling with questions about their identity and sense of purpose.
We spent half a century telling men that the future was female and that women allegedly didn't need to rely on men for anything.
Do you think men are important? Like for what?
On a quest to find answers to these riddles and more, I spoke to everyday people on the street and invited a few respected experts to sit down and dig deep into this controversial subject.
Imagine thinking that a man is gonna make you happy.
May the Lord make his...
Whoa, they slowed it down near the end. She sounded extra evil. And I was like, men are stupid.
Face to shine upon us, a man and a woman.
What are some of the stereotypes that you think of when you hear the word masculinity?
Domineering male figure, I suppose.
Unnecessarily protective.
Everybody trying to put men up higher.
I think toxic is probably the first thing that comes to mind.
When you hear the word toxic masculinity, what do you think of?
Disguises itself behind chivalry.
Mansplaining.
Controlling and unemotional.
And women should glide through the world that I create instead of creating her own world.
Feeling like you have to be like a big, tough guy to be a man.
Conquer and destroy kind of mentality.
Exclusive interviews. Investigative
When you were in your
filmmaker.
20s, you were all
The
in
Red
on
Pill.
the idea that masculinity is toxic, so much so that you set out to make the documentary, The Red Pill. Can you talk to me about how you
But then you
changed in your
discovered
beliefs as you were making
that it
this
was an
documentary?
industry.
That was in my 20s, and I made quite a few films with that mindset. I was really a feminist filmmaker. I was making films.
If you haven't seen, by the way, she's been, talked about quite a bit. The documentary filmmaker who made The Red Pill, one of the key things about her takeaway was that, like, while she was researching the topic to make The Red Pill, suddenly she started to learn things. And she was like, the more I looked into it, the more I figured out we've been lied to. It turns out more men die in war than women. In fact, it's majority men who die in war. That's what they won't tell you. They don't tell you these things. Did you know that men have really high rates of depression, very high rates of suicide? Did you know any of this? I discovered these things. And that's what they won't tell you. This is what they lie to you about. And I was like, all of this, especially when you see criticisms of like toxic masculinity, like the entire debate, or if you want to call it that, the entire conversation, the culture war, it's like all things that the right takes when it tries to dominate it and take over. It starts to change the meaning of the terms, and then suddenly, well, yeah, it's just about hating men. That's what it is. It's just like all men are dumb, all men are lazy, all men are fat, all men just like don't want to work, all men are just like the worst parts of society, all men are abusers, all men are violent, all men are sexually abusive, all men are this, all men are that, that's what it teaches you, and tries to teach little boys that can't be healthy for them. And then of course that's mixed with all these concepts where they're trying to like make us more feminine, make men more feminine, and turn us all into cat boys and all get us to like, get in touch with our feelings and shit like that. This is what they're doing. They're intentionally trying to destroy the idea of what it is to be masculine.
About women's rights and also LGBTQ issues. And I saw men as the oppressors of women throughout history. I believed that women made 77 cents on a man's dollar, and I believed in the patriarchy. So I set out to make a film exposing misogynists. Even while I was filming, I was still really resistant to what I was hearing. I was angry and was even getting hives just thinking about how much I disliked what they were saying. But then when I put the pen to paper, I think that's when I really started to question my beliefs. I couldn't argue with what they were saying. And when I did the fact checking with the statistics that they were putting out there about history and about gender roles, I realized that they were right. And then when I was transcribing the feminist interviews.
So, by the way, if you look throughout human history, and a lot of it in terms of like, Western imperialism and all that kind of stuff, that there was a lot of it that was being controlled by men. Controlling in a large part the decision making behind the empires as they expanded and grew and incorporated large amounts of different systems, such as slave trades, fueled and funneled entirely through capitalistic endeavors in order to increase the power and wealth of these empires and all that kind of stuff. The vast majority of people who were dying and being sent to war, yes, were men. That's not something that was being lied to in the opposite direction, though. It's not like, well, yes, so under a patriarchal structure, this is going to be an oppressive structure, but it's not the only one. In fact, there's multiple ones. If you were to simply look at all of society through the lens of like, yes, it's just been man-controlled, male-dominated, and that's it, and then you just walked away, then yeah, you might be left with like, but they didn't tell me the whole story. I felt like I was lied to. I just felt like men rule the world and yeah, man bad. And then it turns out there's other things. There's other systems at play and other vectors of oppression. And that it turns out maybe patriarchy isn't just bad for women, it's bad for men too, because there's other systems and hierarchies that are being put in place as well. That part would be kind of like, you could go in a couple of directions. You got the two pathways before you. It's like, okay, so in one direction, I'll basically do like a 180 of all my beliefs and then just give into this red pill philosophy, hypergamy, that women are selectively choosing which of the top men they will ever want to be associated with, and they've had that choice forever. And women have been the decision makers in all of human development in a lot of ways, and they control the genetics. They are the birth givers. They are the enlightened destiny that is choosing the path of human civilization. You could do that, one path. And then the other path would be like, well, you should just maybe expand the analysis that like it's not just patriarchy bad and end of story. That's not like there's a lot of other things going on at once and a lot of things at play going on simultaneously.
Understand the men's rights argument very well. And so because they didn't understand it very well, they couldn't debate it very well.
Don't even start with that whole, oh, but you don't think about the men's issue. Well, then you know what? Start your own.
He is still to this day used by the quartering in all the thumbnails, like every single one. To this day.
Movement, which they have, but maybe make it a little more about legitimate issues.
And I realized that they weren't really listening to the men's rights perspective. The more and more I've dug into men's issues and boys' issues, the more I realize how important a present father is in a child's life. And that never became more apparent to me than in the last 3 years of starting my own journey of having a son and now a second son.
When you...
Again, what this is supposed to be about masculinity. MIA, Masculinity in America, full documentary. You're once again using a speaker who's been very popular in right-wing circles for a long time, the director of The Red Pill, the quote-unquote documentary, to once again state how she had been lied to her whole life by feminism. 'Twas feminism that was lying the whole time, and they're unable to understand the truth of the men's rights movement. I would say that the right doesn't offer any analysis of the suffrage of men or men's suffering or how men in society are suffering, because a lot of that, well, you can't answer that while you at the same time are trying to suppress it, you know? You can't on one end be like, so men have it tough. Yes, they do, actually. Yes, they do. And they're not allowed to have feelings. Sorry, what? Yes, because we don't want them to be emasculated. They should return to masculinity. And we gotta prim our boys, you know? We gotta get everyone, get rid of these feelings. And it's like, no. These are conflicting ideas. That's part of it. Oh, you don't know what toxic masculinity is. Oh, okay. Well, that makes this all a lot easier.
Masculinity, you don't get docile, weak men. You get dangerous men that lash back out at society.
There's a really great African proverb that says, a child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth.
It's just for the whole continent. That was the entire continent of Africa. This is a proverb. Okay.
Over time, it seems like toxic masculinity has become a catch-all term for any male behavior that someone finds offensive or unpleasant. This inconsistent, arbitrary criticism leads many men to fall into the trap of actual toxic behavior. As I think about becoming a father one day, I want to understand just how important a male figure is in a child's life. Manhood isn't something that just happens by accident. Tell me about your upbringing and the masculine role models that you had growing up.
Well, for me, it was a little bumpy. You know, so I was born to a teenage mom. So I was born to a fatherless household. I think I was in jeopardy before my stepfather came around. Statistically speaking, I definitely was in jeopardy. The guys going to jail, the mental illness, everything says that without a father or a man in the house, you're vulnerable. I don't want my family, my children to be vulnerable. My presence changes everything for them. They can sleep at night. They know if there's a threat.
But the studies actually shows that for children to have good outcomes and better outcomes, they need, yes, loving families. It does not have to come in combinations that we previously thought, though. The idea of the nuclear family being the only way to raise a child properly, turns out that's not true. You can have two daddies. You can have two mummies. So they have very similar outcomes as long as there is love and security present in the household. Yeah. Do the kids have access to schools? Do they have access to medical care? Do they have access to parents who love them? Do they have safe households? That stuff, that's what usually pays dividends in terms of raising good children, stable kids.
Changeable. Is that correct?
No, not even close. I mean, my wife...
It's like, again, no one is equal, as in we're all the same thing. That's very different. Like, all human beings are the same. We're identical. No, that's not true. That's not true. But if we're setting up like societal rules, we should treat all human beings equally. I think that's the part upon which we'd all agree, right? Should not matter if they are a man or a woman or neither. We should have the same set of applications. You should have the same rights. You should have the same access to healthcare. You know, you should have the same opportunities. I mean, that one might be a little too radical, but all that is what we agree. But not that everyone is the same. We all recognize that, right? We're not a hive mind. We're not a Borg. We have rejected Borg.
Wife was gone for dictation, and it's not planned that way. It's just masculinity. Who am I naturally as a man?
It's tough for boys today, and I feel for them because they're told that they're toxic if they hold the door open. All these things that we're seen as.
No, that's not what toxic masculinity is. So if you don't want to be a bigot and you don't want to be a toxic man, you better slam the door in the face if anyone comes along. Do that. Yeah, you better. You see someone who needs help walking across the street, you don't help them or you're toxic. That's what they're trying to teach us, you know? Or maybe we shouldn't gender this. Maybe that's weird. You know, maybe just be nice. If you're the person who's closest to the door and someone else, open the door for them. Just do it as a generality. Women can do it too. Women can also open doors. I know, wild concept. Women open doors. Well, it's happened. You know, we live in the future now. Women can open doors, so they can also open doors for men. Yeah, and it happens to me all the time. I know, it blows my mind. I'm like, whoa, she's opening the door for me. Now, that doesn't make me think that, does she want sex? It's more, this seems like a nice thing that anyone should do, just for other people. Yeah, just, oh, thank you. Thank you for opening the door for me. I will pass it on. Now the door is opening for you. It doesn't have to be gendered at all. What a world. So anyways, that's masculinity. Just thought you should catch you up. But I just wanted to quickly tell everyone that I have terrible news related back to our original story on JoCat. JoCat has released a statement on December 18th. If this is what it takes to be a content creator online, I don't think I'm cut out for it. I'm going to finish up my current ongoing projects, and then I'm going to be taking an indefinite break from making content. And this makes me very, very sad to hear. My name is Joe, and I've been making videos on YouTube for 5 years. I've combined total about 200 videos and hundreds of hours of content. On October 6, 2020, I did a live stream of the early access release of Baldur's Gate 3, and during character creation, I did a bit where I briefly sang a gender-bent parody of Lizzo's Boys. It seemed to go over well with my audience and all my friends. I typically do these kind of bits for my live stream sometimes. I was also partly inspired by the source of where I first heard Lizzo's song, Hakeem Animation's video. Running the idea by my friends, who are all very encouraging and supportive of me, I decided to make a fun project to elevate the brief stream moment from my YouTube audience who may miss out or may be interested in my live streams. And so on April 2nd of the following year, I finished and uploaded the I Like Girls video, and it got universally positive response from my audience, my peers, and my partner. About a year later, it seemed like I've reached outside of its target audience, and ever since then, I've seen and received many assumptions about my character, my history, my beliefs, my relationships, and all those about my partner, as well as threats of violence to me, as well as my family, doxing attempts, mocking from even people I look up to and respect, all from a single 30-second video out of 200 other ones. Granted, a lot of this has been primarily on Twitter, where I could simply log off and ignore the haters, but no small amount have leaked into other parts of my regular day-to-day is harder to ignore. Private DMs over Discord and Twitch, suspicious packages being sent to my family, but I've always kept quiet about it because speaking out about it publicly, defending myself, any reaction to it would just encourage more and be presented as my own fault as well. But if that's the trade-off to do something like share the things I make and I'm proud of on the internet, seeing as I'm writing this, it's probably an indicator that I'm just not cut out for it, and the best thing everyone would be to stop and pursue something else. Despite being very grateful for what this job has done for me and my family, I'm simply not strong enough to keep doing this if it means having to accept this kind of an amount of distress. Perhaps that makes me weak, but I've rarely ever really thought about it otherwise. This is fucked. So fucked, honestly. And honestly, the fact that it's coming from Twitter, I mean, that explains a lot. And Twitter, again, is a Nazi cesspool filled with Nazis right now. And yeah, it's horrifying, even at the best of times. But seriously, for this 35-second video, I mean, I don't know, do I still have, yeah, this one, the one.
I like really witty girls singing ditty girls. I like the licky girls with the nice thighs. I like a good chest, no matter what size. I like the belly folds. I like the six packs. Really.
This is what warranted the ire of a whole bunch of people on the internet. More time on their hands just to go after JoCat for this. Yeah, what little 35-second video was pissing people off that much? I never meant to make anyone upset. I only ever just wanted to make the things I was passionate about for fun. I never intended this one video to really be all that much cheaper than just a thing I wanted to do on a whim because I thought it could be fun. I never planned to have YouTube be my job, but people happened to like what I made, so I thought it would be a good idea to make more of it and pursue it for other projects I've always wanted to make as well as be in charge of the YouTube I wanted to see. I was inspired by the channels I watched growing up, and the wonderful friends that have encouraged and inspired me to be who I am and make what I want. I still want to make things, but perhaps I should just keep them to myself for the time being. For anyone who cares, I'll still be continuing Heart of Valenti and the J Omega charity, but once those are finished, I will be taking an indefinite break from posting anything online. It's a decision I've considered ever since the first hate wave for about a year ago, but I wanted to sit on it and see if the feeling would persist. I know now this is the best choice for me. If you took the time to read all this, thank you. I'm sorry for causing so much trouble. Thank you for watching my videos. Signed, JoCat. Here's what happened. JoCat did a cartoon on the internet, released it. It became very popular, a viral sensation. And a couple years later, so many people got so upset about it. Why? What? Was he too gay? Was he gay for girls? Was he very gay in how much he loves women? And he made a video on the different kinds of women that he liked. Was it just gay? Too gay? Because like I saw a lot of the stuff online after reading this. I'm not going to put them up on the screen because they're all kind of horrible. The amount of people just melting down like, oh my god, your buddy wants to be pegged so bad. Oh my god, buddy is a fucking cuck beta. Oh my god, look at this cuck beta shit. Like so many people losing their shit over a cute little video. Yeah, fellas, is it gay to like women? Apparently. Is he gay? Gay to like, and I mean, you see a lot of variations of this on the internet too. Like I saw a ton of people like with those. I think they're bait. Genuinely, I think they're bait sometimes. Where it's just like it'll be a woman who's so gorgeous, and then all of a sudden she has like a 6-pack or something, and then it's like, if you like this, you're gay. Sorry, I don't make the rules. This is gay. And then it's like, okay. So many like straight, cis people will be like, I guess I'm gay then. Wow, I'm fully gay. Yeah, definitely gaying out right here. But it's one of those gross things. Because it's like, why can't people make fun, cute things on the internet and enjoy themselves? And it's not just JoCat, obviously. There's a ton of content creators who just put themselves out there. They'll make something. It can be very benign. It can even be relatively harmless, or it can be just adorable and cute. And then all the weirdos on the internet have to be like, what? I mean, this one didn't even need the whole, like, woke, corporate wokeism trying to push wokeness down our throats for a whole bunch of people on the internet to get real upset about it. Real mad. Real angry. Yeah, I think JoCat was unfairly cancelled. I will say that. I do not think it was an appropriate cancellation of JoCat.
Gomez was giga gay for Morticia, and everyone thought he was the chaddiest Chad to ever Chad.
Holy shit. First off, that is true. And I don't know why it was pronounced Morticia. Morticia Gomez. Gomez was mad gay for Morticia, and it was beautiful. And we all loved it, and we still love it. And it continues to this day, all right? It's one of the most adorable of all the relationships.
Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Can you please hit the like and subscribe button and maybe leave a comment? It really does help the videos out. But first, the people who produce everything you see before you and make this entire channel possible: Amazing Fletch, Anna Loves Riley, Ariane McCarthy, Cheryl Alvarez, Doug Caddy, Everything Important, Hagbard Celine, Multimondi, Omni, Peanut Butter Blondie, Political Puppy, Quiet 185, Rachel K, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Ruby K, Cernicus, Spinach Monster, Stellar Vision, Sebastian Demel, Trevbot.exe, Words Greenwood, and Travis McClinton. And also thank you to every other person who helps fund this show. Their names are on the screen right now. It would not be possible without every single one of them. We cannot thank you enough. And if you want to join the Patreon, please come to patreon.com/theserfs and help us exist.